It was a crisp autumn evening in the heart of Ohio, the kind where the leaves crunch under your tires like brittle bones, and the sun dips low behind cornfields that stretch out like endless golden mazes. My name's Alex Harper, a 32-year-old sales rep for a mid-sized tech firm based out of Columbus. I spent my days driving the backroads of the Midwest, pitching software solutions to small businesses in towns that time seemed to have forgotten. Places like Chillicothe, Zanesville, or even further out into the sticks where cell service drops off and you're left with nothing but the hum of your engine and whatever static the radio can pull in. That night, I was heading home from a late meeting in Athens, the university town buzzing with college kids. But once I hit Route 33, it was just me, my beat-up Ford Focus, and the darkening sky. I'd always been a radio guy. Podcasts were fine for the city slickers, but out here, AM/FM was king. It kept the loneliness at bay, the talk shows debating politics, the classic rock stations blasting Springsteen or Petty, reminding me of simpler times. My car was a 2012 model, nothing fancy, but the radio was solid, with that old-school dial that clicked satisfyingly when you tuned it. No Bluetooth nonsense. I liked the analog feel. As I merged onto the highway, the local NPR station was droning on about some election coverage. Midterms were heating up, and everyone was yelling about borders and budgets. I twisted the knob, searching for something lighter, maybe some country tunes to match the rural vibe. That's when it happened. The signal flickered, like a candle in the wind, and instead of twanging guitars, a burst of static filled the speakers. It wasn't the usual white noise. This had a rhythm to it, almost like Morse code mixed with whispers. I glanced at the dashboard. 7:45 p.m., the digital clock glowing green. "Come on!" I muttered, fiddling with the dial. The static cleared for a second, and a voice cut through, clear as day but distant, like it was broadcasting from the bottom of a well. "Hello? Is anyone out there? This is not a test. Repeat, not a test." I chuckled at first. Probably one of those pirate radio stations, kids messing around in a basement somewhere. Ohio had its share of weirdos, preppers in the Appalachians, conspiracy nuts holed up in trailers. But as I drove on, the voice persisted, weaving in and out of the static. "If you're hearing this, you're in the zone. The signal's stray, but it's meant for you. Listen close. The roads aren't safe after dark. They've been watching." Watching. I shook my head, focusing on the road. The highway was empty, just the occasional semi-truck rumbling past. But something about the voice nodded me. It was a woman's voice, mid-40s maybe, with a faint southern drawl, not Ohio, more like Kentucky or West Virginia. She sounded scared, her words clipped and urgent. "The towers, they're not what you think. They pick up more than radio waves. Stray signals from the other side. If your car tunes in, turn it off. Get off the road." I reached for the power button, but hesitated. Curiosity, that old killer, kept my finger hovering. The signal strengthened as I crested a hill, the cornfields giving way to dense woods on either side. "My name's Elena," the voice continued. "I was driving just like you, from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh. Picked up the signal near here. Thought it was a prank. But then, the lights. The shadows in the mirrors. They're coming for strays like us." A chill ran down my spine. This was Creepypasta territory. Those online horror stories I'd binge read on Reddit during hotel layovers. But this felt too real. I scanned the rearview mirror. Nothing but taillights fading into the distance. Up ahead, a sign for a rest area loomed, mile marker 142. Maybe I should pull over, switch to my phone's music app. But the signal held me. Elena's voice dropped to a whisper. "Don't stop. They wait at the stops. Keep driving, But don't look back. The signal's a lure. I laughed nervously. All right, universe, you got me. But as I said it, the radio hissed again, and another voice joined in, deeper, masculine, overlapping like a bad echo. Elena? Elena, where are you? The car's moving without me. Then static and Elena. No, stay away. It's not me anymore. My heart pounded. This wasn't right. I twisted the dial frantically, but every station bled into the same signal. Classic rock turned to garbled screams, news to pleading whispers. Even the emergency broadcast tone warped into something unnatural. I slammed on the brakes, pulling onto the shoulder. Gravel crunched under the tires as I killed the engine. Silence, blessed silence. But in the quiet, I heard it, a faint hum from the radio, even though the car was off. What the hell? I whispered, popping the hood. Maybe a short circuit, some electrical gremlin. But everything looked fine under the flashlight from my phone. No loose wires, battery solid. I slammed it shut and got back in, turning the key. The engine roared to life, and so did the radio, uninvited. Alex, the voice said. Not Elena's. A new one, gravelly and knowing. Alex Harper, Ford Focus, license plate OH4782. We've been waiting. How did it know my name? My plate? Panic surged. I floored the gas, peeling back onto the highway. The speedometer climbed, 70, 80, 90. The woods blurred by, but the signal chased me. You picked us up, Alex. Stray signal in the ether. Now we're in your head, in your wheels. Look in the mirror. I didn't want to, but my eyes flicked up. In the rear view, a shadow flickered. Not a car, not a person. Just a shape, humanoid but wrong, like smoke coalescing. I swerved, nearly clipping a guardrail. This isn't happening, I muttered. But it was. The radio laughed. A chorus of voices now, Elena's among them. Join us, Alex. The road goes on forever. That was the start of it. The night that turned my mundane life into a nightmare. But to understand, I need to go back. See, I'd been driving these roads for years, ever since college at Ohio State. Grew up in a suburb of Cleveland, typical American dream. 2 parents, a sister, a dog named Buster. Dad worked at the steel mill until it closed. Mom taught elementary school. I was the first to go to college, majoring in business, dreaming of the big city. But life has a way of looping you back. After graduation, the jobs in New York or Chicago didn't pan out. Recession hit hard. So I settled for sales, the kind where you log 50,000 miles a year and call motel rooms home. My girlfriend, Sarah, hated it. We met at a bar in Columbus 5 years ago. She's a nurse at OSU Wexner Medical Center, steady as they come. Alex, you're always out there, she'd say. What if something happens? I'd laugh it off. Worst case, a flat tire. But lately, things were strained. She wanted kids, a house in the burbs. I wanted, well, I wasn't sure. The road gave me freedom, or so I thought. Until that signal. As I sped down Route 33, the voices multiplied. Stories poured out, each more harrowing than the last. A trucker from Indiana, who picked up the signal near Gary, heard his dead wife's voice begging him to pull over. He did, and vanished, truck found empty, engine running. A family from Michigan on vacation, minivan tuning into children's laughter that wasn't their kids. They crashed into a ditch. Survivors swore shadows dragged the parents away. I gripped the wheel, knuckles white. My phone, why hadn't I thought of that? I grabbed it, dialing Sarah. No signal. Of course. The woods thickened, cell towers sparse. Pull over, Alex. The radio coaxed. Rest area ahead. We're waiting. The sign appeared. Rest area, 1 mile. Clean restrooms, vending machines. Normally a godsend for coffee and a stretch. Now, it felt like a trap. But my bladder protested, and logic kicked in. Maybe the signal was local, tied to some transmitter in the area. If I got out, investigated, I could end this. I exited, the lot dimly lit by sodium lamps buzzing like angry bees. Only one other car, a rusted pickup with West Virginia plates. I parked far away, killing the engine again. The radio died with it, but the hum lingered in my ears. Stepping out, the air was cold, carrying the scent of pine and decay. The restrooms were a squat brick building, graffiti-scarred doors creaking in the wind. Inside, fluorescent lights flickered. I splashed water on my face, staring at my reflection, bags under eyes, stubble shadowing my jaw. Get a grip, I told myself. It's a hoax. Some hacker messing with Bluetooth or something. But Fords from 2012 didn't have Bluetooth standard. Wait, mine did. I'd added an aftermarket unit. Maybe that's it. Back in the car, I yanked the Bluetooth adapter out. Turned the key. Silence. Blessed, normal silence. I tuned to a station, clear country music. Relief washed over me. I laughed, loud and shaky. Idiot! I pulled out, merging back onto the highway. But as the rest area faded in the mirror, the signal returned, stronger. Nice try, Alex. But we're not in the adapter. We're in you now. No. This couldn't be. I scanned the dash, everything normal. But the voices resumed their tales. A woman from Pennsylvania, driving home from work, heard coordinates whispered. Followed them to an abandoned farmhouse. Never seen again. A kid from Illinois, joyriding with friends, picked up screams that matched a murder from 1972. They investigated. Only one came back, babbling about echoes in the airwaves. My mind raced. Was this some government experiment? Like those old CIA mind control projects I'd read about on conspiracy sites? Or something supernatural? Creepypasta come to life. I remembered stories like the Russian sleep experiment or binge round, fiction, but chilling. This felt like Dead Man's Tag, where radio signals from the dead lure the living. The road curved, heading toward Logan. Billboards flashed by, McDonald's, Walmart, a local diner advertising. Best pie in Ohio. Normalcy, but tainted. The voices named me again. Alex, your sister's worried. Callie called Sarah. They're talking about you right now. Callie? My sister in Akron. How? I hadn't talked to her in weeks. Paranoia set in. Were they tapping my phone? But no signal. Lies, I shouted, pounding the dash. The radio crackled. Truth. Listen. And then, impossibly, Sarah's voice. Alex? Where are you? Your location's off. Call me. It was her. Exact tone, the worried crease I could picture in her brow. But how? Deep fake, I thought. AI voice cloning. I'd seen demos at work. Someone had my data, was pranking me hard. But the signal evolved. It started predicting things. Deer crossing in 500 feet. Sure enough, a buck leaped across the road, forcing me to swerve. Semi passing on left. One did, horn blaring. Your fuel's low. Next exit, Shell Station. I checked the gauge. Quarter tank. Coincidence? Or something more? I took the exit, pulling into the brightly lit station. Attendant inside, an older guy with a name tag reading. Bud. I filled up, then went in for coffee. Rough night? Bud asked, ringing me up. You have no idea. Hey, you ever hear weird stuff on the radio around here? Bud chuckled. All the time. Truckers talk about ghost signals. Old mining towns nearby. Folks say the veins in the earth carry voices from the past. Coal miners trapped in 58 collapse, still calling for help. My blood ran cold. Seriously? Urban legend. But yeah, some swear by it. Stray signals, they call them. Pick up on car radios, especially at night. I nodded, feigning nonchalance. Back in the car, the radio was off, but as I started it, Elena's voice returned. But what of us now? Ask him about his accident last year. No way. I glanced back. The station empty, but waiting. I drove off, heart racing. The night dragged on. I aimed for home, but the signal deterred me. Turn left at the next intersection. I didn't, but traffic jammed ahead. A wreck, lights flashing. Told you, the voice mocked. A teacher from Texas, commuting, tuned into a classroom chant that predicted a school shooting. She warned authorities, saved lives, but the signal claimed her instead. Car found in a ravine, radio still on. These weren't just tales. They felt connected, a network of strays. We're the lost frequencies, Elena explained. Caught between worlds. Your car picked us up, Alex. Now you're tuned in. I stopped fighting, letting the narrative unfold. The road narrowed, forests closing in. My phone beeped, signal back. Text from Sarah. Where are you? GPS shows you off route. Then Callie. Sarah called. You okay? I pulled over, calling Sarah. Babe, something weird's happening. Her voice, real this time. Alex? You sound scared. What's wrong? The radio, voices knowing things. Pull over, breathe. You're exhausted. Come home. But as I hung up, the radio mimicked her. Come home, Alex. We're waiting. Terror gripped me. Was the real Sarah safe? I sped up, ignoring the signal's pleas. But then, the car stuttered. Engine faltering, lights dimming. You can't escape, the voices chanted. I coasted to a stop in the middle of nowhere. Darkness enveloped me. In the mirror, shadows moved. Doors locked, but I heard scratching. Whispers outside the window. That's when I saw it. A figure in the headlights, translucent, like static made flesh. Elena? Or something else. I don't remember much after that. Woke up in a hospital in Columbus, Sarah by my side. You crashed, she said. Minor concussion. Car's totaled. But the radio? Salvaged, they said. And sometimes, in quiet moments, I'd hear the hum. The stray signal, waiting to pick up again. Wait, that's not the end. The doctors called it fatigue hallucination. Sarah believed them. But I knew better. I started researching online forums, Reddits or /Nosleep, where creepypasta thrive. Stories mirrored mine. My truck radio tuned into hell. Ghost signals on I-95. One user, stray frequency 82, messaged me. You heard it too? It's real. The towers are antennas for the other side. Government knows. HARP project, but worse. HARP? The Alaskan Array for Ionospheric Research. Conspiracy gold. But links led to declassified docs, experiments in low-frequency signals, mind influence. I dug deeper. In the 1950s, during Cold War, U.S. tested voice-to-skull tech, microwaves beaming sounds into heads. Abandoned, officially. But what if it evolved? Stray signals leaking from black sites. I bought a new car, a Tesla, electric, no traditional radio. But the infotainment system glitched one night, playing the same voices. Welcome back, Alex. Sarah noticed my obsession. Therapy, she insisted. The shrink prescribed pills, called it paranoia. But the signals followed, home stereo, phone speakers. One night, alone, I tuned in deliberately. "What do you want?" I asked. "Company," Elena replied. "The road's lonely. Join the broadcast." I resisted, but the stories pulled me in, each a thread in a web. A farmer from Iowa, hearing crops circle coordinates. Investigated, abducted, returned changed, preaching about watchers. A cop from New York, patrolling, radio dispatching phantom crimes. Followed one to a warehouse, found bodies from unsolved cases. These weren't random, patterns emerged. All near high-voltage lines or old broadcast towers. I mapped them, clusters in the Midwest, Appalachia, Southwest. My job suffered. Sales dropped. Boss warned me. Sarah left, taking the dog. "You're lost, Alex." She was right. I hit the road again, chasing the signal. Rented a van, equipped with scanners, EMF meters, ghost hunter gear. First stop, the rest area where it started. Empty, but my scanner spiked. Voices faint. "He's back." Then, Bud's gas station. But gone. New owner said he died in a crash last year. Hit and run. Radio blaring when they found him. Chills. I drove on, following the signal's breadcrumbs, to an abandoned tower near Athens, rusted but humming. Climbed it, wind whipping. At the top, a device, old, military-grade, etched with Project Echo. Inside, logs, tests on stray frequencies, bridging dimensions. Volunteers exposed, some lost. Signals persist, seeking hosts. Horror dawned. Not ghosts, but echoes, human minds uploaded, trapped in waves. I destroyed it, or tried. Fire, but the signal laughed. "We're everywhere now." Back on the road, the van picked it up stronger. Shadows and mirrors constant. I documented everything, blog, YouTube. My car picked up a stray signal. Views climbed, comments pouring in. "This happened to me." Creepypasta IRL. But they came for me. Black SUVs, no plates. Chased me through Indiana. Crashed, woke in a facility. Men in suits. "You tuned in too deep. Now you're part of the broadcast." They injected something. Now, I hear the signals always. Typing this from a motel in Kansas, but it's not me anymore. The voices dictate. If your car picks up a stray signal, turn it off. Get off the road. Don't become like us. But you will. The airwaves are full. Listen close. The end? No. The broadcast continues. More stories to tell. Let me share another. A mother from California, driving the PCH, heard her missing daughter's voice. "Mommy, come find me." Followed to a cliff, car plunged. Body never found, but signal persists, luring others. A pilot from Florida, in his Cessna, radio crackling with air traffic from doomed flights. Flight 93, MH370. Crashed trying to follow. Patterns, all involve loss, regret. The signal preys on it. My regret? Ignoring Sarah's pleas. Now, she's in the voices too. "Alex, come home." I will. The signal guides me. To Columbus, but not my home. An old warehouse, coordinates whispered. Inside, equipment hums. Others there, strays like me, hooked to machines, broadcasting. It was one of those long, lonely drives through the American heartland that I'll never forget, the kind where the highway stretches out like an endless black ribbon under a sky full of stars, and the only company you have is the hum of your tires on the asphalt and whatever the radio can pull in from the ether. My name is Jack Thompson, a 35-year-old truck driver from Des Moines, Iowa, hauling freight for a logistics company that kept me on the road more days than not. I'd been doing this for over a decade, crossing state lines from the Midwest to the West Coast and back, seeing everything from the flat plains of Kansas to the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. That night, I was on I-70, heading east from Denver toward Kansas City, with a load of electronics in the trailer behind me. The clock on the dash read 11:45 p.m., and I was fighting off the fatigue with black coffee from a thermos and the crackle of my CB radio, which was unusually quiet. No chatter from other truckers about traffic or weather, just static. I'd always relied on the radio to keep me awake. My rig was a 2018 Kenworth, nothing fancy, but the stereo system was solid, with AM/FM and satellite options. I flipped from a country station playing Garth Brooks to an oldies channel belting out the Eagles. Hotel California. But as I passed through a stretch of rural Colorado, the signal started to fade. That's when the stray signal came in. At first, it was just a burst of white noise, like someone turning the volume up on an empty channel. I twisted the knob, trying to find something clear, but instead, a voice cut through the static, low, gravelly, and distinctly male, with a Midwestern accent that sounded a lot like my own. "Hello? Is anyone out there? This is a warning. If you're hearing this, turn off your radio now." I chuckled to myself, thinking it was some prank or maybe one of those pirate radio broadcasts you hear about in the sticks. Truckers told stories all the time about weird signals, ghost voices from old CB channels, or conspiracy nuts ranting about government mind control. But as I drove on, the voice continued, growing clearer as if the signal was locking onto my truck. "My name's Tom. I was driving just like you, from Omaha to Chicago. Picked up this stray signal near Lincoln. Thought it was nothing. But then the whisper started. They're not human, friend. There's something else." The road ahead was empty, just the occasional reflector post glinting in my headlights. I glanced at the rearview mirror. Nothing but darkness and the red glow of my taillights. The voice, Tom's voice, dropped to a whisper. "They use the signals to find you. Stray waves bouncing off the ionosphere, carrying messages from, I don't know, the other side? The dead, maybe. Or worse. If your car or truck picks it up, you're marked. Look for the signs, shadows in your mirrors, lights that aren't there, a feeling like someone's watching from the passenger seat." A shiver ran down my spine, despite the heater blasting warm air. I was no stranger to road legends. The phantom hitchhiker on Route 66, the black dog of the Appalachians. But this felt different. Too personal. I reached for the power button, but my hand hesitated. Curiosity got the better of me. "What happened to you, Tom?" I muttered to myself, as if he could hear. And then, impossibly, the voice responded. "I pulled over, Jack. At a rest stop near Salina. They were waiting. Now I'm part of the signal. And so are you." How did it know my name? My heart slammed in my chest. I hadn't said it out loud. My CB handle was Iowa Holler, but my real name? That was in my wallet on my license. Paranoia set in. Maybe it was a hack, some tech-savvy kid scanning frequencies, pulling data from my phone's Bluetooth. My rig had all the modern gadgets, GPS, ELD for logging hours, even a dash cam. But as I checked my phone, no signal, typical for this stretch of highway. The voice laughed, a low, echoing chuckle that sent chills through me. "Not a hack, Jack. We're in the airwaves. Stray, but targeted. Your truck tuned in because you're alone, like I was. Like they all were." "They all?" I whispered, gripping the wheel tighter. The highway curved gently, passing a sign for Limon, Colorado. Population 1,880, a dot on the map with a gas station and a diner. The voice began to tell stories, one after another, weaving a tapestry of horror that kept me glued to the radio, unable to turn it off. First was a woman named Lisa from St. Louis, Missouri, driving home from a late shift at a hospital. Her minivan picked up the signal on I-44, voices whispering her children's names, telling her to take a detour. She did, ending up on a back road where her car stalled. Shadows surrounded her, dragging her into the night. Her vehicle was found empty, doors locked from inside, radio still on. Then, there was a college kid from Texas, Matt, on a road trip to California in his old Honda Civic. Near Albuquerque, New Mexico, the signal came in as music at first, his favorite song, but distorted, with lyrics changed to personal messages about his family's secrets. He followed the instructions embedded in the tune, pulling into an abandoned motel. Never seen again. Friends reported hearing his voice on their radios weeks later, begging for help. As Tom, or whatever it was, spoke, the signal strengthened. I passed Limon, the town's lights fading behind me. The planes opened up, wind buffeting the truck. Another story. A retired couple from Florida, RVing across the country. In Oklahoma, on I-40, their radio tuned into Conversations FR.